Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's another chapter of Guardian of the Witch. Welcome back to my channel, guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying this series. Like I said, it is another chapter of Guardian of the Witch. It is a series that's airing on Shonen Jump. It is, I think, as of right now, for free for anyone and everyone. So you guys can read it in Shonen Jump. The first two chapters, at least, are out. It does premiere on Sundays, so I'm going to try my best to post videos on Sundays, like today, as fast as possible. Today is a little bit later than I would want it to be, but still on time, so it's still Sunday, at least in my time zone, and I was wanting to release it today at least. This is going to be on chapter 2. It is the continuation, I guess, to the first volume, if you want to look at it like that, depending when you watch it. The first volume might be already completely out, or if you watch it this week, then it's not out yet. But anyways, before I continue, a few things. If you have not done so by now, make sure you subscribe. I am trying to reach 3,000 subscribers, which is pretty much close. So make sure you subscribe. I do have a giveaway for those who are already subscribed. But for those who are wanting to further support my channel, who already subscribed, then you guys can always comment, like, and share this video. I do have the first review on the first chapter in my channel, so go check that out as well. I think that is all. Lastly, spoiler alert, I will talk about the second chapter in detail, so you guys have been warned. Guardian of the Witch has two main characters. It has the Guardian and the Witch. Duh. The Guardian is Fafnir, and the Witch is, I need to look at my notes because it's a weird name, Manasfa. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to guess it's just a made-up name because I've never heard that name, even if it was a Japanese name. I've never heard of Manasfa. So, and then there's another side character who is kind of a main character as of right now, I guess, and that's going to be Nada. And Nada is the witch's maid. She's the one that's been catering her and has been helping her do basically everything. And they've kind of basically became very good friends. Like, she is technically her maid, but they're also good friends. The second chapter starts with a debate between Nada the maid and Fafnir the Guardian. And during this whole debate, Manasfa, she's asleep. She's taking a nap, and essentially Fafnir is defending himself from Nada's complaints. Nada's complaining of, how can you put us in a situation where now we're all going against the state, and we're now in high risk, and not just the witch, but all three of us. And Fafnir's like, well, I'm trying to, do something good, not just for, get rid of this witch, but get rid of all the witches and see how we can fix the bigger problem and not just the small problem. And she's insisting of, you should have just followed the directions that were given to you and killed the witch on the time given. Again, let's remember, Fafnir didn't know that was actually part of his job until recently. I mean, hours ago. And he obviously was put in a very strict and dark position where he didn't know what he could do other than kill her. That was the instruction that was given to him, and he had to do it, because if not, the witch can go out of control, and the darkness inside of her can make her become a monster and just make a whole mess, basically, in the city. So, then escaping, now they're debating, and essentially Manasfa wakes up and she tells Nada to calm down. It's okay. It's also part of her decision. She wants to be the last witch to die, if it comes to that. And she kind of talks a little bit about how they always knew that she's going to be killed at one point. That she's always thought, at least the witch Manasfa has thought, that it's better to die in your human form than going out of control and maybe hurting people, or just being ugly, like having an ugly death because you're this huge monster now and not your human form. So she's always wanted to die in a human form, at least, but now is wanting to pursue this dream that is also Fafnir's dream, to destroy whatever is making the witches or creating the witches, which would make her the last witch. So the chapter continues, and they run on their escape, and they pretty much escape. And what we see in this is really Fafner's abilities and his strength. He, up to this point, has beat up some guards. We know that. But he's also been kind of bragging on how good of a fighter he is, and et cetera, et cetera. And we actually see that in this chapter. They just dash to the wall, and obviously there's guards everywhere, and they see him, they spot him, and they start shooting arrows at him, and only with his sword he's able to deflect all the arrows that are going towards them. And then he's able to throw a rope through the bell while running and tie themselves to the bell, where they get momentum and are thrown over the wall. Just shows how out of their soldiers league he is. Now, I do want to point something that was kind of mentioned in the first chapter, but we want to remember a little bit more. The witch or witches have been used as protection for the cities for quite a bit now. So a lot of the soldiers are trained, but they're not forced really, or they're not required to really have extreme abilities. Fafner has abilities because he's had a dream of destroying and killing monsters without the help of witches. He thinks that he can be stronger than a witch, and he's trained himself all his life to be stronger than witches. Whereas most of these soldiers, they have an easy job. They just kind of sit there and keep watch, to be honest, because when monsters do approach, the witches are really the ones that take the battlefield, and they're the ones that kill all the monsters. They kind of just stay guard and watch. So yeah, he's strong, but at the same time, the people that he's going with against, they're not that strong. Okay, they are not like the best fighters. They're people that have grown accustomed to witches doing their job for them, and they're just basically watchdogs at this point. The chapter ends with the narrator saying that they all have big bounties, not just in that city, but in other cities around, and that the witch is to be returned alive, and the maid and guardian can be returned either dead or alive. Doesn't matter. And they promise them like some ridiculous amount of money. It's like 100 million something. It's not really yen, because it's not Japan. It's a made up world, but they're promised a lot of money. Extremely amounts of money. So. Yeah, that's the second chapter. A lot of things happen in the second half, action wise. The first half is really more than talking, trying to figure things out. But they're escaped. Where they're going, I don't know. I'm going to assume that they're going to go to the next city and try to disguise themselves. They might have to either cut their hair, or maybe Manasva has some types of magic that they're able to use through her. Although she is called a fire witch, which they haven't really mentioned all her details, but I kind of put one and one together that she probably can only use fire magic. So maybe she can't really disguise them and change the way they look. So we'll see. If they don't go to a city, they might have to go into the forest, and the monsters are there. We'll see what happens there. I feel like it's gonna be one of those mangas, not anime. It'll probably be eventually an anime, but I think it's gonna be one of the mangas where he kind of collects. It becomes a small group, and then it becomes a bigger group eventually. So they might find someone else of a different race, maybe. And by race, I mean like an elf or something like that. I don't mean like someone that's Hispanic or someone that's black. So we'll see what happens in the next episode in the next chapter 3. Gosh, it is pretty late, guys. I'm sorry about that. And we'll see what happens then. Also, guys, if you want to read this again, you can read this on Shonen Jump. I'm not going to give a reading on this one because this one is just kind of building up to what we're going to see next. So I'm not going to rate this chapter. I do recommend you guys to read it. Again, it is in Shonen Jump. I'm not sponsored by them, so you can read it wherever you want, really. But that's where I read it, if you guys are wondering. Guys, make sure you like, comment, and share this video. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow my Twitter and check out my Discord. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for your love and support. And like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.